Hello all my JavaScript friends, this is TheVirtuoid, aka Mike Smith, and this is our Jigsaw Puzzle game. This is the penultimate video. We're going to kind of go through a quick little gameplay with just a simple number of pieces with the jigsaw cut, and we'll explain that as the game progresses, we will explain what is going on behind the scenes with the code. And like I said, this is the penultimate video. There will be one more video in which I'll kind of go through the things saying, I wish I could change this. I wish I could change that. This part doesn't work, things like that. And then eventually, maybe 6 months or so from now, I'll come back to that and we'll spend about a month just taking care of those little particular errors and making it nice, all nice and pretty. But this will at least get us showing you what all these videos have allowed us to be able to do. So let's just get to it. So we click on the jigsaw puzzle, and where we are inside the code here, all we've done here is we've done the constructor for the game. We're inside the game class at this point. And we've done the constructor itself. We have initialized the UI, and we've dispatched an event called event begin. That's this right here, which means we go to the event begin private repo, in which we've reset the time, reset the moves. We've set our status to begin, and then we tell the UI to render. So then the UI goes over and it does its render. So let's flip back up here. Where's render? Where is render? Da 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 dum da dum 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 dum. There it is. Here's the render. So it goes to the begin game, and inside the begin game, there it is. We set all the different buttons to either enabled or disabled, and then we hide certain screens and we display certain screens, and that will get us to this screen. So the thing here, we can either click on the exit button or we click on the new button. If we click on the new button, this will allow us to be able to do all the different, select the different images, select the different cuts, or select the different number of pieces. Now, in the game, in the code, where did all that happen? Whoopsies. Where all that happened was that we clicked on the new button, and when we did that, the UI sat there and said, okay, game, we did an event new. The game said, you did an event new? Oh, cool. Okay, so let's see, event new, event new, event new. All right, well then I'll call event new on my side. So in the event new, it's basically collected all the different images, it collected all the different cuts, and it collected all the different select pieces. Once it collected all that, it then went to the UI and said, okay, UI, I've got everything. Here's your images, here are your cuts, and here's your num pieces. You do what you need to do. So the UI comes over to the on new and says, okay, new game. Well, here's my image list, my cut list, my num pieces list, which changed all the different buttons. Let's hide the blank screen, and then let's call the dialog for new game. On the dialog itself, it's very simple. Here's the dialog in the show. This will allow us to do the show modal. This sets up all the different buttons for us. This sets up all the different images, because as you can do with the show here, we're doing the image list, the cut list, and num pieces list. And then, this builds out the image list. This builds out the selection. This figures out all the different selection events. If we hit cancel and we hit continue, what happens? In each one of those cases, we're going to call a dispatch event. Either that we're going to go back to the event begin, which is the very beginning of the screen, which is when we hit the cancel button. If we hit the continue button, then we do event ready, and we pass to it what image we selected, what cut we selected, and what num pieces we have selected. So this new game.javascript file is the dialog box that we see here, and that was called in the code here. So it's now showing the jigsaw. So we're going to select my favorite puzzle, that one. We're going to do the jigsaw cut because I just happen to like that one better. We're just going to do 12 pieces, so we won't spend all day long just trying to get all these pieces put together. And we're going to click on the continue button. And when we click on the continue button, let's go back to the screen. The new game says up on continue. Here's your image you've selected, here's your cut, and here's your num pieces. So that now goes over to the parent. Who was the parent? The parent was the UI. So the UI comes over and whoops. So the new game says dispatch event ready. Actually, I think the parent is going to be, I may have made a mistake there. Just a second. Hold on a second. Constructor new game, I believe. Give me 1 second here, because I think I just told you wrong. Nope, we're the parent. So now we got the event ready. So with the ready event, let's make sure I got that right here. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, we do the game status again, event ready. So we come over here on our dispatch event, where we got off to. There it is. We just anything we have a dispatch event on this one, we just send it straight to the game. So then the game comes back and says, oh, okay, we got an event ready. All right, event ready. All right. So there's my image, there's my num pieces. Let's set up the table. Let's set the table up completely, and then let's just tell the UI ready game. So the UI takes the ready game, and on the ready game, ready game. There it is. Changes all the different buttons. There's the cut mapping. I'm basically saying if I got a square, I'd do a square cut. If I got a jigsaw cut. We declare our particular cut. And this, again, all the cuts use the same methods and the same properties. So I don't have to sit there and say, oh, if I got square, I do this. If I got jigsaw, I do that. That's handled right here. We do the promises because we got to be able to load up all the different images. That's what this thing right here does. So once all of that is done, then we get our image and cut data. We do our declared cut. We cut the puzzle. We tell the table to cut the puzzle, in which the table then goes in there and cuts the puzzle, which is, where's the cut puzzle? Where's our cut puzzle? There it is. It cuts up the puzzle. And this cuts up the puzzle into different puzzle pieces. So we've cut the puzzle. We set the configuration. Then we go through each individual ones. In this case, all of our 12 different pieces. And we sit there and cut it. This will cut it into our jigsaw. This sets the particular position. This sets the DOM element on each individual piece, and this sets the checking point. And so this allows us to be able to say, okay, piece, here is your DOM, here is your checking point. Remember those things. Then we call the table shuffle puzzle. The table then comes in and says, all right, let's shuffle the puzzle. It's just, of course, just random stuff is no big deal. I mean, that's not a big deal. Alrighty, then we replace the children because this is where we physically put the pieces up on the board. You can see here, this is where we set the left and the top. All right, the puzzle information name cut num pieces remaining. That is over here. This little section right here, it kind of gives you the name, the cut, number of pieces, and remaining pieces. That's what that section's for. Then it displays the screen. No big deal there. You know, this whole thing right here displays the screen, which what gives us the screen. And then it's finished up. So the ready is finished up. So now we're just sitting here waiting. Well, what are we going to do next? Well, the only thing we can do is we can hit the start button. And once we hit the start button, notice that the timer is moving. Notice our timer is moving because when we hit the start button, the UI is going to come back over here and say, I've hit the start button, game. And the game says, you've hit the start button. Oh, no. So then we go to the start button. We reset the time. We reset the moves. We start the timer. And then we tell UI, okay, UI, your turn. Start the game. And the UI says, yes, sir. We start the game. What do we do with the game? Well, we change all the different stats of all the different buttons. And then we listen for a mouse down event. And that mouse down event is going to basically come over here and it's going to listen for me to hit a mouse down on one of these puzzle pieces. And when I click on one, I can now move it around, do whatever I want to do. And then when I do the mouse down, it will drop it wherever it's dropped. So let's see what happened within the code. So we did the mouse down. Here we go. Here's our mouse down. We do a routine to figure out what the active piece is. We basically need to get the span element of the piece. Every canvas, all these images you see here is a canvas, and they're all wrapped in the span. So we need to get that span. We find out what the active piece is because we happen to have on each individual piece a attribute called ID, which has the ID of each piece. And so this allows me to get the actual piece itself from the table. We increment our z-index so they will always be at the top of the screen. And then we change that z-index. We get the family because we may be moving more than one particular piece here. So constant piece of this dot active piece get family. That active piece is within here. get family, get family, get family, get family. Yeah, there it is, get family. This is something within the piece that says, okay, if I'm a child, I need you to get me the parent and all the different children, or if I'm a parent, I need you to get me all different children, or you just get myself, basically. So that's what that is, and that will put the Z index, so that will change the Z index of all those pieces. So as I'm moving them, all of them will be up top there. Then we're going to add an event listener for mouse move and an event listener for mouse up. So as we move, we're going to basically, you know, if the active element does not equal the get move mouse element, then we do the mouse up. So this is if we move it really fast or something and it gets confused. And this is one of the errors that I'm trying to figure out. I will try to figure out how to fix. We just do a mouse up at that point. Otherwise, we tell it to move relatives. And when we tell it to move relative, it goes over to the piece and we do a move relative, which is there. Which then we basically say, you know, hey, you know, we need to move. So if you're going to move, we need to move. Now, the nice key thing here is that when we move, whoop, I just messed that up. Oh, there we go. When we move, we're going to have to move everybody in the family. So that's what the pieces is here. So as we get the different pieces, we're going to go through each one of those pieces and we're going to set the position of each one of those pieces individually as we move. So when we do the move relative, which is just a minor little move in the mouse, not only are we moving this piece, but within the move section, we are actually moving all the pieces at the same time. So that's what this is right here. Actually, as you can tell, though, nothing is happening. We're still moving it. We're still doing a mouse down. And one thing I forgot to mention here is that when we added the mouse listener for mouse up, it's a once equals true. That means basically that once the mouse up has finished, once it has been fired and once it has finished, then we don't need it anymore and we just get rid of it. So we get the mouse, we're doing the mouse move, the mouse up. So we've done the mouse move. So eventually the mouse up will occur. When the mouse up occurs, we're going to remove the mouse move listener because we don't need the mouse move listener anymore. And that's kind of actually incorrect because it should have killed itself. Oh, that's the mouse up. That's the mouse. I'm sorry. I said mouse move. That's the mouse up. We only needed one time. Messed that up. So we do the mouse up. Then we go an in-game event. We tell the game that, hey, a piece is moved. So the game then comes in and says, oh, we got to move the piece. Oh, all right, we got to change the statistics. We're incrementing the number of moves that we've made. And we need to be able to dispatch an event to the table saying that, hey, you've got a piece to move. So then the table comes in on the piece move. Here it is right here. And it figures out, you know, it needs to move the piece. It needs to basically now do all the calculations within the piece move to be able to know if it has to remove the piece. So for instance, if I have moved this piece off of the board, it needs to move it back. And that's what all this code right here does. That's, again, no big deal. I'm not going to go through that particular section, but that's all this particular part does. So we're back over to the game. We incremented the moves. We now go to the UI and say update pieces remaining. And that is going to be update pieces remaining. That is this section right here. So if we have a match or something, that's going to decrement by 1. Let's go back over to the highlight left. If the status that our current status is game finished, and we got the status from the dispatch event from the table, because once the table has moved the piece, and I forgot to tell you that, once it has moved the piece, we get a status from this particular from the move piece. And that move piece here, and this is I went through move piece in great detail in the video itself, but move piece is huge. But the whole thing here is it does return status codes depending upon what has happened here. And the most important one here in our particular case is that we do, where is it? Yeah, here we go. If pieces remaining equals 1, return game's finished. Because if we've made a connection, here it is right here. If connection equals status connected, we decrement the number of pieces. We decrement the number of pieces that are remaining. So that's great. So game, if the status is game finished, we go back to the game and say, game, we're done. So the game comes back and says, okay, good, done. Yeah, game finished. We stop the timer. We tell the statistics game is finished, and we tell the UI the game is finished. And right now with the UI, the game finished, there's not a whole heck of a lot that happens. Let's see, game finished, game finished, game finished, game finished. Let's just do a search, game Finish. I got that wrong. All right, hang on a second. UI finish game. Finish game. Finish game. Okay. Finish game. There it is. And we just change all the buttons. Now, we don't really do much of anything past the finish game. We just change the buttons out. That's no big deal there. So that's what's happening at that point. So all of that occurred just because I can sit here and move this particular piece. And we're already 7 minutes into doing this game. We hadn't done our first connection. So it's all very simple. Once we make a connection, I'm down here at the bottom. Because we've done the get families within the piece, as we move the piece, both those pieces will now move. I think that piece, see that piece doesn't connect right there, so nothing happens. I think the piece connects right there. Do you see that piece just suddenly move off to the side? That's what the move also does. When we call the table, it determines where the move is occurring. It tells us if it goes off the screen, then it moves it back onto the screen. All right, those two are now connected. I have very limited real estate on here, so I want to make sure I got my real estate. So now we can connect down here at the bottom. Now we got all four of those connected. That's going to connect off to the side. So again, I'm just trying to get myself some real estate. That's going to the corner. And let's get that right there. Oop. All right, let's move that. All right, we're going to move that right there. That's connected. Those have now connected. Okay. And we got that. That looks like that's going to go right there. Okay, cool. That's going to go right there. Good. That's not going to go right there. That's going to go right there. Good. That's going to go right there. That's going to go right there. That's going to go right. Well, let's get that out of the way here so we know what we're doing. That's going to go right there. Notice at the very top now, my remaining pieces is two. One giant piece and this little piece right here. So as soon as I drop this piece in, we're done. Remaining pieces is one. The timer has stopped. It took us 46 moves to put together this 12-piece puzzle. And that's basically it. That's the Jigsaw Puzzle game. Number of things we need to change on this, and we'll, like I said, our final video on this will cover all the different things we need to change. But that's really it. The Jigsaw Puzzle works. I showed you cuts, I showed you images, I showed you a number of pieces. I hope you enjoyed it. Wait for our final video here where we'll discuss the things that we could improve upon on this game. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel to view more videos. Click on the like button on this video and visit us at TheVirtuoid.com. Also, support us on Patreon where you can get access to member-only videos. Links are down below. Again, thank you very much for watching and keep on coding.